What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 1 of This Week in the Shop. What I am hopeful of this weekly series here on the channel is to hopefully show you guys interesting, weird, broken, weird repairs that have gone on in the shop that week. I'm hopefully going to be filming this at the end of each week and getting this uploaded Saturday or Sunday of each week. And again, accompanying me talking about whatever the thing is, I'm hopefully going to have some decent pictures, some decent videos of whatever we are talking about. So this one, episode 1, titled Designed to Fail, we will get to here shortly. But one thing that I've got sitting in my stall currently is a 3.6 liter Pentastar upgrade. Now this is the Pug, the later 3.6 liter that is in everything basically. And goodness gracious, do we in the last year or so have had a bunch of issues with coolant getting into cylinders. Now, the original 3.6 liter has its problems also, but we never really had this issue that we've got with these later Pentastar upgrade in 2016 and up in certain trim levels, in a Wrangler, in a, again, it just depends on what vehicle line. But we end up getting misfires in the dealership, end up tearing them down or finding coolant in the affected cylinder. With the older 3.6 liters, we always had valve issues or, something like that. Low compression. These Pentastar upgrade motors don't have those issues, but for whatever reason, we've got head gasket issues causing coolant to get in a cylinder, misfire on startup, and yeah, here we are tearing down a 3.6 liter. This one that I've got in my stall right now is the right cylinder head, which is a lot more time consuming. The left cylinder head, you're not removing the timing cover, you are just removing the head, installing the new. The right side is timing cover removal because our timing chain tensioner, where that's located, you are unable to access that from the top valve cover side of things, if that makes sense. So, like I said, what we've got here is the 3.6 Pug torn apart in my stall currently as we speak, and awaiting extended warranty to, approve a typically new cylinder head and new cylinder head gasket. That's always the safe thing. We've always got a little bit of warpage from that. Now, what do we see that causes that a lot of the times? Typically on the Pug is a leaking water pump. The water pump is leaked, coolant got low, and sometime in the past that thing has been overheated. And yeah, we end up with an engine torn apart and getting a new head and or head gasket. Now onto the title thing here, Designed to Fail. 2.0 turbo 4xe Grand Cherokee. This is a relatively new platform for us. The last few years, we've had the 4xe Grand Cherokee, and to be honest, they've been pretty decent, not too many troubles. I have done a long block here in the shop. But here lately, now that it's gotten cold, we've gotten a handful of them with pretty bad coolant leaks. The first one, we got into the shop, we ended up pinpointing the area that was leaking. It's the water pump gasket that goes onto the block, which seems like a kind of a weird thing to leak until we took that first water pump off. And yeah, they've machined a groove in the mating surface. So if you guys can see here, we've got a water pump basically inlet, or maybe that's the outlet. I guess I'm not really sure because it doesn't matter. Coolant is going through that passage, and in their infinite wisdom, they have machined a passage on the inner mating surface and the outer mating surface. So the only thing that is holding back the coolant pressure, 200 plus degree coolant, 20 PSI of pressure, is that thin rubber gasket. And of course, that's going to fail and push coolant out. Now, luckily, what we found is the new water pump, again, as you see here, does not have that machined groove on the inside surface. which is great, fine and dandy that we are putting a better part on, but goodness gracious, whose thought was it to machine that groove? Because they are all going to fail at some point and need that revised version of that water pump. So that, unfortunately, on a 4xe is not a very fun repair. We've got an electric AC compressor with 400 plus volts of power going to it that needs to be, the system needs to be discharged, the 400 volt system needs to be unhooked, and that compressor needs to be removed. And then we're finally down to kind of seeing what we need to see to replace that water pump. So again, like I said, we've done a handful of them now. Now there's millions of them out on the road, or probably not millions, but there's a whole bunch of them out on the road. And again, we've only seen a handful, but I think there will be more to come on those 4xe 2-liter turbo water pumps. We have not seen any in a Wrangler currently, so maybe it's just a Grand Cherokee water pump thing. I really don't know, but I will let you guys know if we get any of those into the shop. Next up is a massive repair going on in the shop, but again, luckily it is not me doing it. It is across the way. Now, as I'm talking about the shop, I guess I haven't really explained, I am a technician at a Mopar dealership, so I work on Jeeps, Chryslers, Dodges, all of that every single day of my life, and have been for the past 16 years. So that's why we've got a little bit of inside knowledge here in the shop. Like I said, the next massive repair going on in the shop, as you guys can see here, we've got a cab off of an EcoDiesel Ram 1500. Now, these engines do have problems occasionally, but this one actually has not had an engine problem, but unfortunately had a glow plug problem. The EcoDiesel has glow plugs instead of a grid heater, etc., for warming the intake or combustion air on initial cold start. Like any other electronic device, product, vehicle part, those can obviously go bad, but unfortunately, we are finding those glow plugs on the 3-liter EcoDiesel seizing, rusting, corroding into the cylinder head. This one was attempted to get a bad glow plug out, and the glow plug broke off in the cylinder head. That resulted in the cylinder head needing to be removed off the motor, sent out to a machine shop, and unfortunately, the machine shop also failed at removal of the glow plug. So that thing's getting a new cylinder head, which is a very costly endeavor. Now, I do not know the money side of things because I'm back there in the shop working on things. I don't typically see that upfront cost, but that thing has the cab off, up in the air, engine scattered, timing scattered. That is a real bad day to be an EcoDiesel owner. Now, last but not least here, obviously, this is nothing new, but Jeep Wrangler JK. So 2007 through 18 was our last year for JK. We oftentimes get doors that are extremely heavy. When you open and close those doors, it is very, very heavy, and that ends up being our door hinges rusting. Now, this is a separate issue from the JLs, which get door corrosion and need doors and hinges replaced. This is the actual pin inside the hinge that gets corroded, rusted, and makes the door crazy, crazy heavy to open and close. I've actually got a YouTube short I can attempt to throw up here of me opening and closing a door that was crazy, crazy rusted. But the fix or repair or what have you is removing the door, cleaning the corrosion off of the pin and the hole in the hinge, lubricating them and putting them back together. But unfortunately, as you guys can assume, they are extremely rusted and seized into those hinges. So you're not just taking a couple of nuts off and lifting the door off. Another one of the guys in the shop has kind of devised this awesome method for door removal on JK Wranglers. We take our engine hoist, put a rag up through the door frame, roll your window down, and put that engine hoist as far forward as possible, basically lifting directly in line with the hinges. And as you add tension to that engine hoist, you can swing the door back and forth and get the door to come off very, very easily, and you're not breaking your back trying to lift the door up. Now, obviously, once the door's off, you're using some emery cloth, cleaning the pin, cleaning the hole, obviously, in the hinge that accepts that pin, putting some lubrication on there, putting it all back together, and then you've got a door working as it should. But it's always kind of a funny sight seeing an engine hoist lifting a JK door off the hinges because they are so darn stuck. So guys, that wraps up our This Week in the Shop, episode 1, Designed to Fail. Let me know down in the comments, is this interesting to you guys? Some of you mechanically minded guys that are interested on what crazy, weird stuff goes on in the shop, or not even crazy and weird, but like our water pump, just really poorly designed. Why would you do that knowing that that gasket is going to fail? But again, let me know down in the comments section, is this interesting? Do you want me to continue it each week with weird and interesting things that we see day to day in a Mopar dealer shop? And if so, I'll try to keep taking pictures, keep taking videos, and we'll keep doing our weekly This Week in the Shop, and hopefully letting you guys know some of the weird stuff that we have to deal with as mechanics in a dealership. So guys, I hope I will catch you here next week. Like I said, hopefully Saturday or Sunday we'll be uploading these weekly. And guys, like I always say, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.